Hello everyone, welcome to the Sweet Doll Box. This is my Valentine's Day special, and today I will be making a Cuddle Team Leader doll. Just so you know, I don't play the game, I just liked this character and thought, hey, this would be a great time to use the flocking technique that Doll Motion did a while back. So for this repaint, I'm going to be using a Kuu Kuu Harajukuu music head. I believe it's music. It could be love, I don't remember. And a Disney's Decedents body. I picked the Disney's Descendants body because it was more curvy, and unlike the Barbie doll, it didn't have quite as many joints, so it would be better. Anyway, I took down the hair so I could see what it looked like, and then put it right back up in pigtails. How stupid of me. I could have just cut it off in the first place, but I wanted to save the hair. Oops. So, using scissors, obviously, I cut off both little cute pigtails. And I ended up with this. And also all of this. There was a lot of trimming. Anyway, I tried to cut open the back of the head because the neck hole was too small, but my box cutter the head was so hard that the box cutter wouldn't go through. And I eventually did get pretty frustrated with it. So then I was like, hey, I'll try scissors to see if I can cut open the back of the head. What the heck was I thinking? That's obviously not gonna work. So I had to use an X-Acto knife, and I cut this little piece. It was extremely difficult to get all of the hair out of the head because the plastic was so darn thick. I spent at least an hour. It was not fun, it was not relaxing like it usually is, and I had to switch to another pair of pliers because my pliers were not working. That's how frustrating this was. So I found that flat nose pliers are the easiest way to do this. You start by pulling on the outside and then scrape the inside of whatever is left. I think that worked well. There were some parts left, but whatever, it's gonna get covered up anyway. So, here's the mess, and here's the head. She looks pretty weird without any hair, but that face shape is perfect for Cuddle Team Leader. So I just need to attach it back on there and remove the face paint. So here she is. She kind of looks like an alien. She's pretty scary actually. I kind of creeped my brother out. I'm going to use this pink yarn for Cuddle Team Leader. I think it's the perfect match. I start by winding the yarn around my colored pencil box to get all the pieces of yarn the same length before I tie them onto a wooden dowel to be brushed out. Then, I cut the yarn wefts off of the dowel and snipped off tiny pieces of it into the bowl. It took a long time to do this, like an incredibly long time, but it was definitely worth it in the end. So here's the body all taped off and ready for painting, and side note, I sanded it and then realized it didn't need to be sanded since it won't show up anyway. So I mixed white and red paint together since I didn't feel like going out and buying hot paint, but it ended up being the perfect color. Brushed on a layer of this new pink color that I made so that you wouldn't be able to see the skin tone underneath the flocking. While that's drying, let's move on to the head. So I cut off Cuddle Team Leader's ears with an X-Acto knife because she won't be needing those anymore. I then begin sculpting the details that will be on the face later, like the mouth, the tongue, and then the snout. This was kind of fun since I don't usually sculpt anything, but it was kind of a fun experience. I made a little heart to go on her nose as well. I think that's such a cute little detail on her face. Then I take a ball of clay and cut it in half. These will be the ears. I then push in the center of the piece I cut to make the little dent in the ear. Then I push it up against the side of the head so it gets the right curve to it. See? So cute! Here's the whole view of her head before anything gets painted. It's kinda creepy, but it will look better. Then I brushed on a layer of that hot pink paint. Also painted a white spot on Cuddle Team Leader's face, where her tear is. I tried to brush on some glue to keep Cuddle Team Leader's muzzle on, but it didn't work and the muzzle fell off. Before it's too late, I add Cuddle Team Leader's iconic white belly patch. Now that everything's dry, I can start the flocking process. I brush on some glue and add fluff. And lots of fluff. I make sure to brush off all the extra white flock before adding glue to the pink part of the body. Here's some clips to show you what Cuddle Team Leader looked like during this process. She's so fluffy! I brush all of it off with a hard brush. I then repeat this part for the ears, adding white flock to the inside and pink flock to the outside. I made and straightened out a couple more wefts to be Cuddle Team Leader's little tufts of hair on the top of her head. Oh, and here's what the ears look like before you brush all the extra fluff off and after you brush all the extra fluff off. As you can see, I've marked where all of the clay pieces will go on Cuddle Team Leader's face later. These are areas that I will not apply flock to. I start adding the wefts onto the top of Cuddle Team Leader's head for those tufts of hair. This process took a while and I'm not happy with how it turned out. It could have been better. I just didn't really know how to cut it and I glued on some of the wefts the wrong way and it was just a mess. So here's the puff ball of a head that I've got, and now it's time to brush all of that extra fluff off. See? Much better, and still super fluffy. And here I am trying to tame down that poof on the top of Cuddle Team Leader's head. It still doesn't look great. I was not satisfied with the way it turned out. Using a strong glue, I glued the ears in place on the head. I also took the masking tape off of the doll. Now it's really starting to look like a suit. I had a lot of trouble getting the head back on the body, like so much that I had to cut the back of the head open to get this thing on. It was kind of ridiculous, but don't worry, it'll get covered up later. And something fell on top of my clay eyes that I made, and they got broken. So I used googly eyes instead and just painted them white. Added the other details on the eye as well, making one eye pink and one eye purple. I found that the glue I had been using looked like a gloss when it had dried, so I decided to put it over top of the eyes to see if they would work. After all, I have a bajillion googly eyes, so it didn't matter if one of them had gotten ruined. And it actually looked pretty good in the end. I painted the muzzle white, the tongue red, and the nose black. I also added pastels to give it some depth And I put some more of that glue on the nose to make it glossy. Now it's time to put everything on the face. I also added a piece of fabric to make it look like Cuddle Team Leader had a tear on her head. I think it looks pretty good. And now, the accessories! Using some hot glue, I built up a hot glue square, and this would become her knee pad. I used the hot tip of the hot glue gun to smooth out the sides, but it actually ended up making it look rougher, which is good, I guess, because Cuddle Team Leader fights, you know, in Fortnite. I used hot glue to attach some leather straps to make the little back bling holder thing, I guess you call it. I don't know Fortnite terms, but it kind of looked like backpack straps. Also added leather straps on various other parts of the body to mimic the actual character. For the pockets, I decided to use foam, so I painted some orange foam white and then realized, you know what, I could just do this with white foam. So I cut some white squares of white foam to put on there, but first I had to paint the black leather strip white to match the belly. Then I put the white foam pieces on the belt. It was much easier than painting the orange ones. You can see them up in the corner. They were a big flop. Great! But I forgot something. Cuddle Team Leader has this cute heart decoration on her belly, and I should have flocked it in with black, but it was too late for that, so instead I just had to paint it on, which took a while and was really frustrating because paint doesn't like to stick to flock, so if you're gonna make this at home, just flock it in that color. It is just super hard to paint on this stuff. Yes, I know, the shape is not right, but let's move on to that hole in the back of her head. I cut pieces of hot glue sticks and hollowed them out with the tip of the hot glue gun. This was kind of fun to do. I realized later that Cuddle Team Leader has 3 buttons on the back of their head. They're not 3 whatever I made these things to be. But it was too late for that, and I don't have enough money to go out and buy buttons, so I just painted these black and went for it. So I hot glued them onto the back of her head and realized that they stick out way, way too far. Like, that's just not okay. So I had to pull them off and cut them down a little bit and repaint them, and it took a while, but it looks better. I painted that hot glue pyramid that I made earlier, and that will be her knee guard. I attach it to the top strap only, that way the knee can still bend for posing and other fun photo stuff. I made the bases of her shoes out of clay, so I made it using this Crayola air dry stuff, which is cheap, and I would have liked to use something nicer, but I'm poor, I don't have a lot of money, so that's all I got to work with. I painted the glovelets on her hands, and I realized that most of these dolls come with glovelets, and the doll that doesn't have glovelets, I'm painting her hands on, like, no! But I don't have money to go out and buy this sort of stuff, so I just had to work with what I had, and I painted those glovelets on. I also painted the lower part of Cuddle Team Leader's arm because the glove extends there, and I used this piece of tape to block off a little square area because I thought that the hole in the glove would extend there, but it didn't, and when I put on the hand it looked horrible, so I filled it in anyway, and it looks much better filled in. Now, back to those shoes. See, they fit the Disney's Descendants feet perfectly. And now back to something else other than the shoes, because I'm terrible at editing. Okay, so we're gonna do the shin guard, and I scuff it up a little bit. It's made of foam, so I just kind of scrape it with my X-Acto knife, poke it with my X-Acto knife, you know, whatever. Then I paint it black and dry brush it with some silver to get it to look battle worn, and I think it looks pretty good. So the shoes were really frustrating to make, and it was hard for me to film all of it, but there's the pattern in the background, and I'm gluing on the front part right now for, like, you know, the front cap of the shoe. I followed my Froggy Stuffs tutorial on how to make sneakers, and I just kind of modified this for a heel. It looks okay. It could have been better, but it was the best I could do, and I'm actually pretty proud of myself for making a pair of shoes. It's hard. It's very hard work, but I guess they look like they'd be practical, and the color is right, and I'm proud of them. After I laced up the boots, I wanted to add a little fold over on the top of the boots, but there wasn't enough material to fold over, so I just added some extra, and it actually looks like it's folded. So it looks nice. I cut off the excess, and voila! Cuddle Team Leader boots. I put the shoe on the doll's foot, and yay! It fits! So I tie a cute little bow with the thread, and it looks great! I hot glue on the shin guard, and I only glue it to the leg. That way, if I ever make a better pair of shoes, I can take the old shoes off and put the new shoes on. I add some straps to make it look like they're strapped to her legs. Make sure to leave a little bit of the strap hanging off, that way it looks like it's been buckled, and there's a little bit of excess hanging out. Then I put hot glue on the bottom of the shoes and paint it white. And then I'm done! And here's the completed Cuddle Team Leader doll! I think she's pretty cute, and she fits so well in with this Valentine's Day season. I'm really glad to have done this doll. It was kind of an experiment. I used a couple new techniques, like flocking, which I had seen in Doll Motion's video and was like, I need to try that, and taping off, and mixing heads, and sculpting, and it was just an adventure for me, and it was really fun. It took me about 4 days to make this doll, and when I say 4 days, I mean like 4 days straight. It was on winter break, so I had a lot of time to myself, so this doll took a lot of time, but it was worth all of that time. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed. I plan on making lots of new dolls soon, and I have some that are already made. The videos are just being edited. That will be out very soon, and I'm very excited about this. I hope you all have a very happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for watching! Bye everyone!